really apparent to me in 2013. So after the Olympics in 2012, where I'd broken my Canadian record, made the Olympic final, and gone through hell and back just to make the Olympics, I was having an enormous come down from the high of the Olympic Games. And I noticed that everything I was doing every day, the multiple training sessions, the meditation, watching my nutrition, it no longer counted. It wasn't good enough. It wasn't the high I was looking for. And I was feeling really unsatisfied with my training. Then, leading into the 2013 season, my back had had enough. And I was experiencing chronic back pain, and I had to take the season off. I actually wasn't even sure if I'd ever throw again. Finally, I met a physiotherapist who figured out what was wrong with me. And she said, no throwing, no lifting, no med ball, no jumping, no running, nothing track and field related. And all I did was rehab exercises with these tiny little weights. And it would aggravate me so much. I'd think, I'm nowhere near where I was before. How am I ever supposed to get back to producing this much power? I remember one day I was at treatment, we were doing an exercise and I had 10-pound dumbbell shared between my hands and I was doing tricep extensions. And I started crying because I was so frustrated. And I said, I used to split jerk 240 pounds over my head. How am I supposed to get back to throwing a javelin far if this is how much I can do for a tricep extension? And LJ looked at me and she said, Liz, when you first started, your tricep extensions involved 1 pound per hand and you could do 3 reps properly. Now you have 10 pounds and you're doing 10 reps. That is an enormous improvement. And you're comparing yourself to where you were before. Not only that, but we're not going back there because doing that exact kind of training protocol, moving that way, is what got you to this mess in this first place. We are remaking you so you can go beyond that. And that was the moment where I really realized that you can't compare yourself to where you were in the past. It's going to mess you up. You have to think about where you are going in the future, and you have to pay attention to your progress. And I had not been paying attention to mine. After 10 months of physiotherapy, I picked up a javelin. And 2 months after picking up a javelin and doing only rehab exercises, I broke the Canadian record by another 3 meters, and I was 5th in the world. And that's when I understood the power of tapping into daily wins. Because ever since that conversation, I started to notice the incremental progress, and that is what got me through that intense rehabilitation program and ultimately back to high performance. The power of perspective. This picture is LJ and I and doing overhead press with 15 pounds per hand and me being very proud of it. So again, first thing that Daily Wins allows you to start doing is it starts teaching you to reframe your progress, and it brings it down to what is achievable within a day. And when this starts happening, we start celebrating, or at the very least acknowledging our efforts for every single step forward. It is about overkilling it because we're trying to resensitize our brain to feel progress and to build this feeling of momentum. Motivation and morale thrive on momentum as well. Motivation is something that when we feel progress, we feel like we want to do more. And morale really is about doing hard things and feeling like you want to do it, there's purpose behind it, and that it's going to help you